Hello, I'm David DeLugas, the $99 lawyer. This week I'm going to address one of the questions that comes up time and time again. How do I resolve what seems to me to be a small legal problem? Do I hire a lawyer or do I try to mediate? Well, let me address what mediation is and what litigation is, and see if we can distinguish between the two first. Now, mediation is a process where you attempt to negotiate a resolution, and a mediator, a neutral party, can assist in doing that. Now, of course, if you can just contact the person with whom you have a dispute, now this could be your ex-spouse, this could be your current spouse as you process yourself through a divorce, or this can be a business or a neighbor or a family member or anybody. It can be over money or it can be over some conduct or behavior that one of you, either you or your adversary, want to see changed. Now, these types of disputes sometimes lend themselves to being resolved in court with a judge, with a jury, with an attorney to present your case, or maybe not. But bear in mind, anytime you engage the legal system engages with you. First, you have to pay a filing fee if you're the one initiating the claim. And if you're the one defending the claim, then you're going to have to decide whether you have counterclaims. That would mean, do you also have claims against the person who just sued you? And then how do you approach those? And what are your defenses? So it kind of ramps up the entire situation. And what if you're fighting over just a few $100s, or you're fighting over something that is relatively minor but is still a major irritant, and it's an obstacle to you to get along with somebody you really want to get along with? Let's say it's a vendor, or it's what had been a loyal customer of your business. How do you handle those situations? Well, first, it would be helpful if you understood what's the dispute, where does the law stand on your dispute, meaning would you really win, would you prevail, or would you lose? And then what's really the better outcome? Do you want to win but lose your customer or lose the ability to use a vendor? Do you want to win but then irritate your former spouse or soon-to-be former spouse to the point where getting along for the benefit of the children no longer is possible? So you can, as the expression may go, you can win the battle and lose the war. So perhaps what you could do is consider just having a good friendly discussion over a cup of coffee or tea, or a conversation on the phone, and try to resolve it. Now, often that's just hard to do because the nature of the personalities involved, the history that you have, again, with a customer, a vendor, spouse to be a former spouse, or somebody who is on their way to becoming a former spouse. So the personalities just may make that process difficult. Engaging a mediator, a neutral third party, to participate in the discussion can really be useful. Now, if you are considering using a mediator, when you contact the mediator, it is best if you include the adversary in a very soft spoken email or contact, maybe make a conference call and ask your opponent, hey, would you be willing to at least talk about the possibility of mediating? Or send an email to a mediator that you can identify and perhaps pose the same question. Dear mediator, I have what appears to be a problem or dispute with so-and-so who's copied in on this email, and I wanted to contact you and find out about rates, availability, and the process of mediation. Now, why do I suggest that you include your adversary, the person that you have the problem with, in such a communication? Quite simply because if the mediator responds to you and provides you with any information at all, that mediator is likely not going to be an acceptable person to help you with your problem, not acceptable to your opponent. Because your opponent may perceive, aha, this mediator who you've been chatting with by email or by phone is on your side. Now, granted, the definition of a mediator is somebody who's neutral and who will not take sides but is anxious and wanting to help get both sides to a resolution where you're not completely dissatisfied or you're partially happy, but it's a resolution with which you can live and you can tolerate it, which may be better than what would happen if this dispute never gets resolved, just as an underlying irritant, or costs you money on an ongoing basis, or you go to court and it costs you a lot more if you lose, and it may cost you a lot even if you win. Now, I think this is a very timely topic for me because earlier today I was the mediator in just such a dispute between a credit card company who wanted to collect a lot of money from somebody who had defaulted on their credit card debt, and in fact had sold that debt. The credit card company had sold that debt off to somebody else, another finance company that is in the business of buying bad debt for pennies on the dollar and then attempting to collect it. Now, I was able to help the parties reach a satisfactory resolution, and for that I feel professional gratitude, but moreover, both sides ended up with a deal that wasn't a complete victory, but they ended up with a deal that they both felt was satisfactory and helped them move on to the next thing they were going to do. And again, it was something they could live with, and the result at trial is often one wins, one loses, or neither one is very satisfied. So let me go back to the process. If you think you have a problem or dispute with someone, or you're aware that somebody has a problem with you, again, in your role as a business person, or in your role as a parent or a former spouse, or as a family member and you have a problem with another family member about something that just can't seem to ever get resolved, yes, you can engage in family counseling, and a mediator is not going to counsel you. The mediator is looking for a solution, a document in writing, which is obvious, a writing that you both sign off on that indicates how you're going to handle the resolution, and the mediator may have really good ideas, things you may not have thought about as ways to resolve your problem. So here's my suggestion. If you think you have such a problem and it's not the kind of thing you want to be battling in court over, then consider retaining a mediator to work with you and the person that has a dispute or problem with you, or that you have a problem with them. Now, what might that cost you? You split the cost to the mediator with the opponent, because then you both are financially engaged. You're both invested in having this process work for you. And remember, it's not a mini trial. You don't have to prove your case to the mediator, because the mediator is not there to tell you who should win or who should lose, but rather, what are you willing to do to see this problem go away? What are the boundaries of what you're willing to do to reach a resolution, and finding the same thing out from your adversary? Doing so often in a private caucus, meaning a private conversation, one that you're not a party to, and then come back and go back and forth between the two of you in an attempt to resolve the problem. Now, if that seems interesting to you, you can read up more about mediation on various locations, including on the $99lawyer.com, because as a mediator, if you have a problem with somebody, get in touch with that person and suggest that you book two sessions, each of you paying for one, back to back, and then we'll get together on the phone or webcam, the three of us, me as the mediator, the neutral, and each of you, and let's see if we can't work that out. And I will tell you that the success rate of mediation is very high, as long as both parties, both sides, are desirous of reaching a resolution rather than letting this problem or dispute just percolate or what's the word I'm looking for? I think I'm looking for it'll just be like a virus and will get worse, or an infection. It'll just get worse. So if you want to get a problem resolved, consider mediation. It is a friendly environment in which to discuss a problem and reach whatever creative resolution that can be fashioned and constructed. So if I can help you with this, or you'd like to discuss the possibility on your own, but that of course would mean I could not mediate the case if only one of you contacts me. But I'd be happy to help discuss your situation, the problem you think you have, what are the various avenues and approaches you can take, and see if you can get comfortable with, is it something that you really need to address with, because it's really not a legal problem per se. So I hope this helps, and again, if you'd like to discuss it further, consider booking a session with me, the $99 Lawyer. Thanks so much.